actually, Miriam, you talk about your partner, Heather, who you've been together with, what, 50 years?
54.
54 years. But weirdly, you're together, you are, you know, you're married and everything, but you don't spend that much time together.
We live apart because she's an academic, a very brilliant woman, and she works on Indonesian history. So she lives in Amsterdam and I live in London. I can't live in Amsterdam because I can't work there.
Yeah.
So, but I live here. But now I think we want to live together. I really do want to live with her because we're old and we haven't got much time left and it's silly to be apart. Have you got a partner?
I'm not saying. I've got inyon with someone, though.
Oh, that's good. But don't waste time.
No,
don't
totally
waste
no.
time. And you've been married now for a year.
It's over a year, yes.
And it's going well.
So far. Don't jinx it, Miriam.
God forbid.
Your wife, is she a contortionist?
My dear wife is, yes, she was in the Olympics. About my wife? You're excited about my wife?
No, that's so cool.
Yeah, she's a contortionist. She was. Anybody want a lozenge?
Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
Thank you. She was in the Olympics.
You're not getting one after the contortionist thing.
She was a rhythmic gymnast, and she was in the Olympics in Sydney in 2000 for Canada. There she is. There she is.
Yes.
That's my darling Emily. And then she expanded her training to include Cirque du Soleil, kind of aerial things. And she does, in fact, last year she doubled Emma Stone in La La Land. All that aerial dancing outside the scene in the planetarium, you know, that's her, dancing and twisting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But can she do a contortionist? If you go on holidays, could you get in a suitcase? That kind of thing.
Well, yeah. She was a magician's assistant.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and so she packed herself away in a box. That's right, she did that. And she's quite bendy. And we met at the gymnasium, and I started a conversation. I saw her doing wonderful things, and I invited her to this gig. I play jazz piano, and there we were. Oh, her name is Emily. I think if you're watching Gregory Porter, I'll bet you know this old standard called Emily. I sang to her, Emily, Emily, as the murmuring sound of May. And I said, hey, Emily, you want to come up and do contortion on our piano? We had a grand piano. She said, yeah. She came up. I said, what do we play, guys? What do we play? They said, oh, that for Fabulous Baker Boys. Remember when Michelle Pfeiffer does To Make and Whoopee? But and she got up and she did this amazing routine. That was the 2 days after we met. Wow. We're still very much in love. 6 years. Now we have 2 children, one 2.5 and one 6-month-old.
Wow.
2 boys, yeah.
How long ago was this?
6 years we met.
6 years ago?
6 years ago.
Julie Walters?
What?
Did you meet your...
God's sake. What? Leave me alone. What do you want to know?
Well, didn't you meet you met your husband in a club, didn't
Mind
you?
your own business.
The whole concept of chat show falling apart. Why are you asking me all these questions?
I'm tired.
But did you go clubbing a lot?
Clubbing?
Clubbing?
Yes, but yes, I did in Birmingham.
Yes.
My mother didn't. Yeah. But what's that got to do with it?
But isn't that where you met your husband?
Oh, no, I met him in a bar.
Oh, a bar?
In Fulham, yes.
Oh, in Fulham?
It was full of frightfully posh people. It was full of what we used to call hooray Henrys. Everybody was frightfully posh. And I remember saying at the time, I was a bit drunk, and I remember saying, I bet nobody here is a member of the Labour Party. And he said, I am, actually. And that was it. And then we met, and then he came home and never moved out. He mended my washing machine, told me I needed a pump. I misunderstood him.
Oh, dear. Did you follow a lot of that story, Didier?
Did you? I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry, Didier.
You didn't miss anything. I think the lesson learned is, Didier, you're quite right not to go to clubs. Look, Bono brings us his new memoir. Here it is, Surrender, 40 songs, one story. It's out on Tuesday, the 1st of November. And so was this, like a lot of people are bringing out books, was this a COVID project?
No, it started before that. I wanted to explain to my, my friends, my family, especially our fans, but it's my family, what I've been doing with their life, kind of thing, because they, in many ways, permissioned me to be not just an artist traveling around the world, but as an activist traveling around the world. So I just, we don't really talk about that stuff at the tea table, at the dinner table. So I wrote it out, and it's the story of U2, and it's the story of, these incredible people. It turns out the most interesting thing about me, or the most extraordinary thing about me, are the relationships that I'm in. And I met most of them in 1 week in Mount Temple Comprehensive School in Dublin. I met the other 3 members of the band, and I started dating Ali the same week. So, wow. There you go. That is extraordinary.
No, it is really cool. But the story of you and Ali is just amazing. That, there you are at the beginning, and here you still are. Was Ali cool with all the big stories? Like, there's a story about one of your very first dates. Oh, look at you.
Wow.
One of your very first dates when you decided to take it upstairs. Do you know the story I'm talking about?
Yeah, I had a box room. As you know, most houses in sort of suburban Dublin, there were 2 bedrooms in the box room in the house. And I was in the box room, and I had it sort of minimalist, sort of enforced minimalist. It was all white, no shade on the bulb, just a naked bulb. Yeah. And I was telling her it was really an art gallery. And she's 16 or whatever. And I really didn't want her to meet my father, Bob. So I was on a half day, brought her home, brought her up to the bedroom. We were laying there on the bed, I would say. And he gets a half day, my father, Bob, and he's like, where are you? And I'm like, I said to Ali, she said, what are we going to do? I said, panic? She said, I'm not going to panic. I said, get under the bed. I said, I can't get under the bed. Get under the bed. She got under the bed. The dad comes in. So what are you doing home from school? And I'm like, it's a half day. It's Wednesday. Why are you home from work? Oh, yeah. Why are you in bed? On the bed. And I said, I'm sick. Sick. Oh, yeah. And for the tough man, he sits down on the bed. Oh. And he said, so how are you? What's going on at school? Are you okay? You okay? Oh. And under the bed. Like, I was okay. Ali was living under 2 Houstons, and she would be for a very long time.
Oh my God, I cannot wait for the film of your life.
I know.
Like, I want the movie now.
Oh,
yeah, well.
And there will be some great... I love...
Eddie Redmayne.
There's a... Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael, obviously married 15 years. Wow. And people, couples, when they meet together, they have little rituals and ways to keep the relationship fresh. But you have one involving golf, is this right?
Mm. Yeah, that old thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
I don't think I can handle this emotionally.
I can kick his ass in golf if I say so.
Okay. Wow. But don't you make these bets when you're playing golf?
Yeah, if he duffs a shot and can't get his ball over the lady's tee, he has to take his pants off. Or drop them.
On the pitch? On the
pitch?
You're worse than I am. Even I know that.
On the course.
On the course,
yeah.
It's pitch and putt.
Crazy golf.
Yeah. But expose himself in some way, yeah.
Wow. And does he do it?
It's not just my husband, it's any man I play with.
Questions too.
No, he doesn't have a question. He was volunteering to play golf.
Drop him on the course. What are paparazzi doing all day?
No, there has been an issue with paparazzi, but I made him go into the bushes and drop his pants.
Oh.
A deal is a deal.
We were talking about relationships and things.
Uh-oh.
And because in terms of your lovely husband, there's a beautiful story, really kind of just perfectly romantic story about when you kind of knew he was the man for you.
It's very romantic.
This is heartwarming, ladies and gentlemen.
I had a little too much to drink. This was my life prior. And I had to jump out of a limo before it stopped. to not feel bad anymore in a patch of grass. And we had just recently gotten together, and I was like, I don't want to throw up in front of you. Go walk away. Well, he's trying to rub my back, and I don't know, no one wants to be touched. And he's like, would it make me feel better if I made myself throw up with you? And I was like, yeah. So he, about 4 feet in front of me, shoved his hand down his throat and threw up for me. I was like, that's the most romantic thing.
Oh, are you from Glasgow?
Gloria Estefan brings us news of a musical. It's called On Your Feet. It is the story of Gloria and Emilio. It's already been a big hit on Broadway. What,
Yes,
like 2 years?
Yeah, we were 2 years on Broadway, and we even had a group of people called the Feeties, the On Your Feeties.
Nice.
These were young girls that had seen the show. Yeah, I don't
No,
know. Is
it
that
sounds-
strange in England? Or... Okay.
Yeah. It sounds a bit like feces, that's all.
Oh, no. No, Feeties.
Feces.
Let me say it with the accent. No, a little weird at the beginning, you know, because there are actually people playing my husband and I on stage. So it was pretty emotional at the beginning, and several times watching it. But my favorite thing was, like, we'd sit in the back row because, of course, on Broadway, they don't want us to disrupt the show and go 1 minute late because the union is very, very strict. And I would love to sit back there, and then there's several points in the show where people are crying, and I'd love to see the big, beefy guys crying, and there was one right in front of me because, of course, they don't know I'm sitting behind him, and the guy is bawling. I mean, he's sobbing. He's asking his wife for tissues, and after the accident thing, he goes, oh, my God, that accident, whatever happened, is she okay? And I go, she makes it. Relax, she makes it.
It is a story of your life, but what an amazing life. You know, a Cuban immigrant, then finding success in America, then global success, the crash you mentioned.
Not a fun night, that.
No, I mean, you're on the tour bus.
Yes.
It crashes. That changed your life.
It did. I wouldn't change it. You know, it really made me live my life in a much richer way in many ways, and the connection that I made with fans, and the fact that I really learned the power of prayer. I was raised Catholic in school, so I'm pretty irreverent. And, I felt people's prayers like I was plugged into the wall. It was amazing, and I used it in my recuperation. I kind of meditated and imagined nerves reconnecting, and it was great, and I'm good. Titanium reinforced. My band calls me Robopop. I could be a droid, for real. Come on, Star Wars, what are you waiting for here?
So so there's that in it, but overall, it seems like it's a lovely love story.
It is, very
between
much.
you and Emilio, because now this sounds. Are you lying?
I'm
that
not.
he is your only ever
My
boyfriend?
first and only.
Really?
Yes, he says I don't know any better, that's why it's good. And I tell him that I don't have to have hamburger to know I have filet mignon at home.
Oh, hamburger's good though.
Yeah. Just for a change.
Yeah, you know.
No, we're going to be
Don't knock
married
it.
40 years in September.
Oh, congratulations.
3 together.
40 years.
Yes.
But
it's wonderful.
it's a proper true love story, 40 years in September, but there is something, and it does sound annoying, so there is a quality in him that does annoy you.
Well, it doesn't really annoy me. It actually makes me very happy because he makes me laugh all the time. He's got business neurons in his brain and music, and he's focused on all that. But he is the most absent-minded individual you will ever see. He has left me places forgetting that I was with him when he went to get the car. And this is before cell phone days, so he goes, no, I don't want you to get wet, it's sprinkling. 45 minutes later, backstage, where is he? I call home. He was there. Hello? You forgot me. Oh, I didn't know you were with me. And then he has this other funny thing, like he has a direct connection between his brain and his mouth. He doesn't really edit anything, so whatever pops into his head first. Fortunately, I speak Emilio, so I can usually figure it out. But like things like this, the other day he comes up to me and he goes, look, Tom Cruise, as he points to his shoes, and I'm going, Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise. And I was thinking, because Tom Cruise had been at our home, we'd had a dinner, and I go, did he give you that as a gift? What Tom Cruise? He goes, yeah, the designer. I go, Tom Ford. That kind of thing is constant. You know what he calls the Queen of Soul? Urethra Franklin. It's more complicated complicated. I don't understand. He does crazy things. We're flying out of Vegas, and he goes, look, there it is, Notre Dame. I go, it's Hoover Dam. This kind of thing, it's like all the time. So he keeps me laughing. I think that's why we've been married 40 years.
Back to romance, because I love this story. I want to get this story in, because, you know, those missed connection columns in the thing, and we all love reading them, but you assume nothing ever comes of those missed connection columns. Coleman Domingo.
Until you're me. And you're in Berkeley, California in 2005, and you're minding your business going into a Walgreens, which is like a Boots here. So I'm going in there because it's a Sunday night. I live in New York. I'm just going there in Berkeley to get a mask for the night, you know, facial mask. So I'm walking in and I see someone walking out, has beautiful hair down to here, lip piercing, beautiful, beautiful. I see this guy and we look at each other. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm on the phone and I come outside and we look at each other and he's talking to this young woman and she seems to be angry about something. So it's a lot of like, you know, and he keeps looking at me and she's all, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And so I'm like, oh, let me get off the phone. I'm gonna get off the phone. I get off the phone, they walk off down the street, but he keeps looking back. And I wave, but he just keeps going. And then I'm just dumbfounded, and I end up in a Blockbuster, you know, across the street, you know, and I don't even know what I'm doing, but I decided to look at my watch, and it was 8:03. And I came back outside, and I thought, is he here? And I thought, well, maybe I'll come back next Sunday, and he'll be here. I'm that kind of hopeless romantic. So anyway, cut to 3 days later, I'm trying to buy a used computer, and I was just scanning Craigslist. They have Craigslist over here, right?
Yeah.
I was scanning Craigslist, right? So I thought, maybe I'll place one of those misconnections ads. I wonder if they work. Because I would read them on the subway. I go to page 2 of them as I'm reading, and I see, saw you outside of Walgreens, Berkeley. He placed an ad for me 2 hours before.
Come on, bro.
I jumped up. I was like, are you kidding me? That's me. He described me with my faux hawk. It was 2005. And I was like, get out of here. So we met up 3 days later. We had our first date. I was trying to be a good boy and go home. He said, can you stay over? I said, sure, but let's just cuddle. We cuddled. I thought he was asleep. 4 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't sleep. And I said, I think I love you and you're about to change my life. And we've been together for almost 19 years now.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know, right?
What is that? Oh my God. You are like the most magical creature on the planet.
Oh.
Yeah. It is amazing, and it really happened. How amazing.
It really happened.
It really
but also,
happened.
I mean, I think I'm somebody who just believes that magic happens.
Yeah.
I really do believe that, and so I feel like, oh, if I want this thing, it'll happen.
Ron Granson, now you've been married. Have you been married 30 years yet?
Not yet. Close.
Very close.
29.
Never gonna make it.
Never gonna make it.
Yeah. Good. Now, in your book, you tell a story of young love. I think you were on your honeymoon in Europe.
Yes.
And you were on you were driving but on a train?
We went to our travel agent to talk about this. We were mid-30s when we got married, and we knew that we wanted to start a family. So this was like it. We wanted this honeymoon to be really spectacular. Spent 5 weeks in Europe, and it was all over. So we started in Switzerland. We were going to rent a car and then go to Italy. And the travel agent says, oh, by the way, instead of driving around the Alps up and over, you take a train. It's a flatbed car. It takes 3 cars, bumper to bumper, on a flatbed car. And then they put, you know, and then you go through the Alps. By the way, he says, wink, wink, there are 3 tunnels. The first tunnel is about 5 minutes. The second tunnel is about 8 to 10 minutes. The third tunnel is 50 minutes long.
Oh.
If you're a honeymooner, and I said, say no more. I'll give you the little finger. So I told my wife, and she exhaled and said, okay. We're on the train. There's a van in front of us with a bunch of Italian families in front. And behind us, I mean, as close as you are, I can see the people behind us. 2 couples, 2 Italian couples. And so we start going, and we go into and it's a massive experience, emotionally and physically. And the wind is whipping through, and it's pitch dark. You cannot see anything. Wow. And it's fascinating. And we come out of the tunnel into the station, and I say to Robin, that's one. We go up, we start again, we go through the second. Pitch dark, can't see anything. We come out of it, that's two. And she's like, oh, God. We start the third tunnel, wait till it's absolutely pitch dark. Here we go. It's a small rental with a stick shift, and I'm like trying to get my trousers off. She's trying to lower her chair, and we can't see anything. You cannot see anything, so it's all by feel. And it's like, what's that?
Awesome.
And amazing. One thing I learned for sure is that never be completely nude when transferring from one seat over the stick shifter. Keep your trousers on and do it afterward.
Then decant.
But, you know.
See, funny, I would recommend it, but that's... Sorry,
No, hold on. So we are in flagrante, as they say, and I don't know where to put my hands or something, and my wife is just, come on, just, you know. Now, what's happening is that my eyes are adjusting. I can see her profile. She's a beautiful woman. Love her with all my heart. And I could see her, and it's her pretty face, and it's great. And I think the eyes are getting... No, the eyes aren't getting used to total pitch black. What happened is that we were coming to a station. And we came... Boom! Sunlight, everything. Now imagine I'm like this, right, on top of my... And I can see the two couples, the Italian couples in the car behind us with their wine. And they're going, and the women are going, stop it, stop it. And my wife says those three words to you, who every husband wants to hear. Get off me. So I get off, the Italian family, the grandmother's turning the heads of the children, and I'm struggling to put my trousers back on. And I never found out, we never found out, if this was a gag, if this travel agent did this on purpose, knew all along it wasn't 50 minutes, it was more like 15.
15 minutes though, man.
15.
Ricky, you say you've been dating since before the internet and before computers, but you do now, you have a lovely way of using social media as a tribute to your partner, Jane.
Yeah. I just, yeah.
I like your in the bar faces that you do.
I do in the bar faces, but then I also get pictures where if we're out or something, I sort of like lag behind and get Jane by herself with no one, and I take a picture of her and I tweet Jane with all her friends.
Yeah, so like, imagine, so I don't know how funny Jane finds these, but they are funny.
Fine.
So here's one you tweeted of Jane. Jane thought she'd made a new friend, but it was just a shadow. Which is the next one? Oh, this is exactly what you're describing. Jane thinking about making new friends.
I went, Jane, look at those crows.
But does she not know you're doing it? Does she not think, where is he? Where is he?
She sees the tweet.
This one is, Jane is looking so happy because her new friend hasn't walked away yet. and then, like...
Does she ever, when she's posing for one of these pictures, does she go, is this one of those pictures where you're going to make me look like I have no friends?
No. I'm so convincing.
But also, there had to be a few words at home after you posted this one. Just found this photo of Jane when she was little. There had to be a gift. You must have given her a gift after that.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's what being in a relationship for 30 years does.